In this year that we commemorate both the 50th anniversary of the Charles Darwin Foundation and the 200th birthday of Charles Darwin, we are especially inspired by his work and his vision. Charles Darwin was in many ways someone who changed the way we see and view the natural world. Here at the research station of the Charles Darwin Foundation, we are doing different work, but as we take on challenging issues, we remain greatly influenced by his methods and moved by his courage.
The Darwin Foundation, working very closely with the park and other agencies of the government of Ecuador, has played a fundamental role in the fact that Galapagos remains one of the best preserved tropical archipelago in the world. The Darwin Foundation is now taking on a new set of challenges around socioeconomic and planning issues because there are huge new threats because of the dramatic increase in tourism and urban growth and development. We remain an institution of natural scientists. Now that will continue to be the Charles Darwin Foundation's core of our activities, but we fully understand that in order to have the kinds of impact on the medium and longer term, that we have to take on some of the socioeconomic or socio-environmental issues. And it's really now about putting Galapagos on a sustainable path.
Project Floriana represents a new concept of project for us. It's looking at a whole island and how we can restore it, doing an integrated approach to conservation. This will include the people as well as the biodiversity, because when we're dealing with inhabited islands, we have the people are part of the conservation work. And if we don't work with the people, we can never think about having a sustainable project.
Lo más importante para mí es que dentro de mí, del concepto que yo tenía de conservación, es como una actividad, es como el compromiso que tengo. Y he crecido mucho, realmente he crecido.
So the island has changed a lot since Darwin first went there, and the island was also very influential to Darwin in his beginning to think about concepts of natural selection and adaptation. It was there he saw the mockingbird in Floriana, and the mockingbird was a species that really caught his eye as something which was a very clear case of a process that he believed to be happening. So we're using the Floriana mockingbird as a flagship species for this project. The species went extinct on the island over 100 years ago. It's still present on 2 islets around the main island of Floriana. And as part of a more holistic process, we want to put the mockingbird back on the island. All of this work we can't really do without the community.
Es importante tratar de mejorar nuestra isla, y no solo nuestra isla, sino nuestro archipiélago de Galápagos, tener algo fenomenal aquí.
If we can involve people in the solutions, we will have solutions that actually work and can become sustainable.
The Galapagos are not sustainable because all the trends are going in the wrong way, and that's why the work we are doing in social science is quite important. For instance, we made a work on the taxis in Santa Cruz. We have now 250 taxis, and that's a lot of cars here in the islands, and that means that we are living now here in the island like we are living in mainland Ecuador or other parts of the world. A very important point is to work on tourism, because in the present days this tourism model is going to collapse because it's highly energy consumptive. It's based on the very short stays in the islands, and it doesn't fuel so much the local economy. We have to work on the new tourism model, because the Galapagos could be an example for the rest of the world, and to make tourism more sustainable for the Galapagos Island.
Climate change is now science fact, and it's not science fiction, and there's enough evidence to show that it's actually happening. Galapagos is in itself a unique natural laboratory for climate change studies. It lets you have a window to look at things which are happening globally over larger scales within the small kind of bubble, if you like, that is Galapagos. Now here, because of El Niño over the last 40-50 years, We've got enough information to Galapagos to start to predict what might happen in other parts of the world. And what part of the work which we're doing at the Charles Darwin Foundation is to try to take that information and apply it to other communities in other parts of the world which are going to be affected by sea level rise and changes in sea surface temperatures and changes in rainfall over the next 20, 50 or 100 years. Climate change affects everybody. It affects ecosystems, it affects species, and people depend upon those species. So another important part of what we're trying to achieve in this project at the Foundation is to try to look at the interdependencies between the human community, between human fisheries activities, between tourism activities, and how these effects, combined with the additional stress that you get during these very strong climatic events, can affect species, biodiversity, and the resources upon which the local community depends.
Getting this balance right between economic opportunity, social equity, and environmental stewardship, I mean, ultimately that's the challenge for all of humanity. But if we don't start taking decisive action now in terms of the development model of Galapagos in the next 2, 3, or 4 years, I think you will see a chain reaction of ecosystem degradation. And if we don't get it right in the next several years, we'll be regretting it for the rest of our lives.